What's up, everybody? Kalen Moss, Theory and Thacker here, and in this video, we're going to be going through some more AMPscript, just talking about just AMPscript and talking about how to code. So we set the timer for 45 minutes. I am going to share my screen here, and we're just going to watch this video, this for loop video, and then we're just going to practice it in Marketing Cloud.
Let's do it.
All right. I'll press play here.
Hi there, my name is Cam, and welcome to another Salesforce Marketing Cloud Functions in 5 minutes. Today, I'll be doing a quick introduction to the process loop in AMPscript. So at the time of recording, Salesforce Marketing Cloud does not have a dedicated documentation page for process loops, and this awesome function is relegated to the subheading of an AMPscript language elements documentation page. So to help explain this function better, let's make things a bit more colorful and step through an example piece of code together. So let's have a read. The for process loop in AMPscript has 4 keywords: for, to, do, and next. And it reads something like this.
Uh-oh. Did your Wi-Fi die? We lost Kalen again. I'm guessing the turf work has continued outside the apartment building. That's the lore that we're creating for when Kalen's Wi-Fi stops working. But Cameron broke it down for us here with great color. So, of course, we're going to be repeating a part of code a number of times. So for at 1, so we're setting the variable like we've seen in the previous videos, and that sets the variable to start our looping process from. And then oh, we lost Kalen completely. I can't even review the slide there now. So let's give him a second. Usually takes him what, like 30 to 45 seconds to come back. I know it looks beautiful out on my deck behind me with the trees and everything, but just below that deck is probably 2.5 to 4 foot of snow just in random drifts around my yard. Trying to get the driveway clear for the propane truck today was a extremely tough challenge yesterday. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Oh. All right, I'm gonna actually text Kalen, see if he lost it all. Maybe I should present the videos since I have better internet than him.
Yes, you should.
There he is. There he is.
Can you actually present the videos?
I don't know.
Send me the link to present, right?
Send me the link in private chat.
Okay. There you go.
All right. Let me fire this up. Okay, pausing, coming to StreamYard. Okay, let's see here. Can you see it?
Here we go.
All right.
Welcome to another Salesforce Marketing Cloud Functions in 5 minutes. Today, I'll be doing a quick introduction to the process.
Can you hear it?
In AMPscript.
A little
So
bit.
at the recording, Salesforce Marketing Cloud does not have
a
dedicated documentation page for process loops, and this awesome
Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
function is relegated to the subheading of an AMPscript language elements documentation page. So to help explain this function better, let's make things a bit more colorful and step through an example piece of code together. So let's have a read. The for process loop in AMPscript has 4 keywords: for, to, do, and next. And it reads something like this. For something being equal to a value until that something equals this limit value, do some stuff, and then return to the start, incrementing by 1. Okay, so let's fill in some of the blanks. Most for loops use the variable I and will start at 1. And trust me, you'll see this a lot online. So let's start by filling in the first section with @I equals 1. So now that we've set the I variable to be equal to 1, let's pretend we want to use this loop to run 10 times. So in the limit value, we can put the value of 10. So the loop will start at 1 and keep going until it reaches 10, doing whatever we put in between the do and next keywords 10 times. So let's give our process loop something to do 10 times. Let's use the output line function to output the phrase "this is a loop" 10 times. Our AMPscript code will look something like this. We can press publish to see the output. And there we go. The phrase has been printed 10 times over. Now let's go back into our function and alter the output slightly. Let's add the variable I into the output so we can see which loop number is being processed each time it goes through. Our code should look something like this. When we press publish this time,
Let's go into slow-mo.
when the Salesforce AMPscript parser hits the beginning of the for loop, it sets the @I variable to be equal to 1. It then proceeds to check if the variable is less than the to number, 10, which it is, so it proceeds with the function. It processes the output line using the variable I, which is currently set to 1. It then reaches the next keyword, incrementing the variable of I by 1 and returning to the top of the for loop. It then checks if the variable I is still less than 10, which it is, so it proceeds. This time, when it proceeds to the output line function, the I variable is equal to 2, and so it writes this in the input before hitting the next keyword, incrementing by 1, and returning to the start again. It does this a few more times until it reaches the 10th run. On the 10th pass, the for loop checks if the @I variable is equal to 10, which it is, and so it sets a reminder that this is the final pass. The process loop runs, outputting the phrase using the I variable, this time set to 10, and then passes through the next keyword, proceeding with the rest of the email or cloud page code. So there you have it, how to use the AMPscript for loop in under 5 minutes. I've put a link to my documentation and a for loop learning challenge in the description below if you'd like to keep practicing your for loops in AMPscript. And if this video has helped you to learn the for loop in AMPscript, or if you enjoyed the for loop learning challenge, then please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified.
Absolutely. Shout out to Cameron as always.
Yes. So what I'm starting to see now is like for loop is like, dude, I remember that was like so difficult for me to understand.
It's tough. I mean, when you've never ever thought about the concept of parsing through a data sheet with rows and rows and rows. I love how my beginning story was the fact I just thought everything, I was like, oh, it's just an Excel spreadsheet. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. And then I started to understand thousands of lines that were stuffed into these sheets and the data that was collected and kept in them. And I'm like, oh, goodness, this is not just a spreadsheet. Like, this is a data warehouse. This is what we're using our Microsoft Excel for, is a data warehouse. Yep.
Yeah. Companies really are.
Right. Because you don't really understand the purpose when you first start using, whatever position you're in, or if you're just an admin or whatever you might be doing, when you're using the Microsoft Office set and you get Excel, you just think for it as like tracking basic numbers, creating a couple reports. You never think on it on the level of, oh, this has, however many lines, endless lines, just endless.
Yeah. Yep. What endless lines where?
Just all the way through the data sheet. I've opened up Excel spreadsheets that took even my computer minutes to open. Yeah. Yeah, where you're just pushing the boundaries and the limits of 10,000 lines plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it
though.
Real deal. Yeah.
That's what we're using.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we started on this this for loop challenge, I think a couple weeks ago, right before we started the pacing guide and the trail mix. But let's just go through, see if we learned anything so far, and we can come back and do it. Because we got to, I think, number 2. So let's see. It says he sees loops treated as a developer function, and they're avoided by marketing teams. So to help make loops more approachable to beginners, he made an introductory video. I think it's this one. Yeah, the one we just watched. And developed a simple challenge that will help to understand the power of loops. To complete this, you'll need to use multiple loops and comparison statements to produce a desired output. Follow the task below to complete the challenge, so the final output is as follows. So the 6 tasks are progressive that will build up to the final result. Read each task description and try to replicate the results. Recommend attempting this code in a cloud page. Okay, so I'll go over to cloud page. And then check your results on the preview screen. I provided a solution at the bottom of this page. Okay, so step 1. Okay, loop challenge. So let's start at the very first one because I think we saved all of them as code blocks. So let's just, okay. So let's go ahead and delete that one. And let's bring in our content. I think we have, oh, this is where we did ChatGPT, isn't it?
I believe so. I believe we used it for a little bit of this. Right?
Yeah, this is what we used ChatGPT for. We did using a for loop, create a comma-separated string of characters from 1 to 10. So we copied that. We went to chat.openai.com. Let's see if we wrote out, if this is where we wrote this out. You know, it's crazy. My hotspot is actually faster than my internet at my home right now. I'm gonna hit up AT&T.
I would be hitting up the property manager to get that resolved.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hitting AT&T.
Because if you're paying for that, you need to get your full service, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, boom. Let's see what this spits out. Within seconds.
Don't get me started with this thing. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like we could open up a Saturday session and just cover this tool for 2 hours easily. And honestly, what we could do is we could just take requests from the chat. Like, what do you want us to create? Throw out anything, an acceptance letter. I mean, we haven't even dove into the aspects of a resume, right? Imagine this thing writing up your cover letter. It's crazy, man. It's really wild.
Let's see what this is saying here. It really is. So code block starts. We have variable result, variable I, set result to be nothing. Then we start the for loop for I equals 1 to 10, do something. It's saying now set result to go and concatenate result, which is by itself with the row that we're on, 0 and 1. So to 1, if I is less than 10, then set result to concatenate result with a comma. Oh, I see. Because result is nothing.
Right.
It's being concatenated with 1 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I is less than 10,
right.
which we'll say
which
the
it's
first
going to be because it's counting, right?
The result's going to be nothing with a comma, but actually the result's going to be the 1 with a comma, and then it's going to go to the next I, 2 with a comma, 3, 10.
Yeah, because as long as it's less than what? 10, it's going to spit us out a number. So let's say we replaced 10 with 1,000. It's going to give us everything up to 1,000.
Yep. Okay, so let's see what this over here on the left. Let's see. That's the same, right? No, it says. So let's see how it spit it, because it spit it out almost the same way last time, but it looks a little different. It says, let's see.
let's not forget there's a lot of different ways to speak a language. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we can't forget that at all.
Because we have set, because it said set result to nothing up here.
Right.
For I equals 1 to 10, do. And then it said if result doesn't equal. I'm going to just break these sentences up.
So if result doesn't equal blank, then set at result to concat result
With a comma.
with a comma. And if, okay, so for at I equals 1 to 10, do. Okay, so we've set the variable, we've set the loop. Now we're telling the loop to spin for us until we get to 10. Do this.
But this if statement coming into the middle of the for loop is what is getting me.
Right. So if result does not equal
nothing,
then set at result concatenating with a comma. But where is it telling us to return the? Can we run this real quick and see what it is?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a better understanding. Watch it run exactly what we wanted to run.
Because this is the first Chat GPT script we had.
I know. I'm just saying.
Isn't that wild?
Okay, so here's the difference, right? Here's the difference, and this is what we don't understand yet. On the right, we have the if statement is saying if at 1 is less than 10. But our if statement on this side is if at result does not equal blank, then. So these are our two combatant statements here, right?
Look, I'm just telling ChatGPT to just explain this to me. This code block. Okay, I said, please explain this code block step by step.
Okay, 1 to 10 to do, which sets up a loop, will run 10 times. The if statement is used to add commas between the numbers in the string. So that's the if statement's only job. Then checks if at
Wait,
result.
where are you at? Which part?
I'm down to 4.
Oh, you jumped to 4. Okay.
Because everything else I think we understand. It's the if statement that's thrown us all.
The if statement is used
To just add the commas between the numbers in the string. So
If
the at result does not equal, then checks if at result already has a value in it. If it does, then the line set the concatenating function. If the line set at result equals a concatenating function at result,
then the line they're saying. Wait, are they saying if it does, then the line where it says set
at result, yep,
equals concat adds a comma and a space to the end of result.
At result. So if we look on the left again, okay, set at result, for at I, 1 to 10.
Oh, what is it here? I'm going to break it down right here.
Yep, hit it.
The if statement is used to add commas between the numbers in the string. So this is used to add commas between the numbers in the string. If the statement called at result equals, or the if statement at result doesn't equal nothing, the then statement checks to see if the variable called result already has a value in it. Okay, it's saying so it's saying if the variable called result isn't negative or isn't blank, if the result variable isn't blank, then go do this. Go and set the result concatenate itself with a comma.
Itself, yep.
And then end the if statement, end the if statement. Then if in the if statement,
yep,
Then set result to concatenate result with I.
So when we say in the if statement, we're basically saying when we're done throwing down commas.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. That's all it did.
That's all it is.
All it did was it took if it doesn't equal, but it's saying, but up here it's saying set result to nothing. Then it's saying if result doesn't equal nothing, but it does equal nothing. Right now, at least it doesn't equal nothing.
Right.
Then set it with a comma.
So copy that piece of code, put it into ChatGPT, and have it explain that.
Which part? This?
All the whole thing, like the difference in between the two pieces, or just that section.
This is right here.
Okay, so that's just what we went through. What does Cameron Roberts look like again?
I copied and pasted that one.
Okay, so that's it. So what does Cameron Roberts look like? Is that the other example we had on the right?
So what we just had ChatGPT output was this.
Okay,
one
this right there, right?
Please explain.
But it's different than what we're reviewing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like this is just slang in language. Like we're saying the same thing a different way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a really good exercise to just really crunch on this.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So the first code block is the one over here on the left with this explanation.
Yep.
The second code block is the one over here on ChatGPT that it just spit out a couple of minutes ago.
Right.
And it's this explanation. So for this one, let's see what this. So let's just try to break it down. Let's just try to read it at least. So it's saying, starts with the opening tag. We set result to nothing. It initializes an empty string variable named result, which will hold the final result of the loop.
Right.
The for loop begins with for I equals 1 to 10, which sets up a loop that will run 10 times, starting from 1 to 10. The if statement is used. The if statement over here is meant to add commas between the numbers inside of the string. If the variable called result is actually, if there is something in it, then it checks if result already has a value in it. If it does have a value in it, then the line called set at result equals concat result, comma, adds a comma and a space to the end of the variable called result. This makes sure that the numbers in the string will be separated by commas. Then we go and set the variable called result to go and concatenate on itself the result, which right now I believe is nothing.
Right.
With I, which is now 1 or 1 through 10.
Yeah, because we set that. Yep.
So now we're concatenating result, which is nothing, which is just the string with the I variable, which is 1. It appends the current value of the I variable to the end of the result variable, effectively building up the string of numbers. The next I ends the for loop. The AMPscript closing tag follows the loop. The line
is used to display our results.
Displays the final value of the result variable in the email or landing page where the code is being used. The v function is used to output the value of the result variable. So overall, this code block generates a comma-separated string of numbers from 1 to 10 using a for loop, which can be used in various ways in Marketing Cloud. So then we had explained this other one that they had, which is now they added a variable result and I up here before this setting result. So that's different. And then they did the for statement, and then they didn't do the if statement up at the top. They just first set result to concatenate result and I, which was the one down here.
Yeah.
Then they did an if statement, and the if statement was if the I is less than 10,
And
then set result to go and concatenate
concatenate.
with the comma.
Yep.
So they
Loop and comma.
changed
Loop
that.
and comma. Yep.
And they changed the order of this, and then they changed the way the if statement was set up.
Right.
So it says the code starts with declaring two variables, result and I, using the variable keyword. Result variable is initialized as an empty string using set result equal to empty. The for loop is initiated with which runs from 1 to 10 in increments by 1 each time using for at I 1 to 10 do. Inside of the loop, the result variable is concatenated with the current value of I using set result equals, okay, it's concatenated with the current value. So result variable is a string that is blank, that has nothing, that's being concatenated with the current value of I, which is 1, which that makes sense now because that's how it starts. And then an if statement checks to see if the current value of I is actually less than 10. So that makes sense.
Yep.
If it is less than 10, then a comma is concatenated with the result variable now. So with the result variable, which is now 1.
Right. The comma is then concatenated with result. Set at result equals concatenate result with a comma.
So it's saying now if this I is less than 10, set the variable called result to concatenate the result up here, which is now 1 with a comma. And then in the if statement, go to the next I. See, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The next statement indicates the end of the loop. Finally, the resulting string is printed to the screen using result, VLOOKUP, result, the output of this code block. So this one actually makes more sense to me. Whereas
I got you. Then the other one?
This one doesn't make as much sense.
It doesn't make as much sense. It's not as clear, right?
Yeah. It's like, so ChatGPT block 1, and I'm going to say we can pull over, just thinking about like, because I'm going to, after this session later on today, I'm going to come back and study this more. I'm going to do, I'm going to delete, I'm going to say ChatGPT block 1, copy, delete HTML, and I'm going to paste in, I'm going to save this block as where's paste? Paste 1.5. The second I'm just going to save that. And then copy this. What?
The dog is just over there snoring away, just happy as a lark. I'm telling you what, not a care in the world. I don't know if you can hear him at all, but he's just digging in deep.
He's having
so jealous of a good night's sleep. Not gonna even lie.
I know, bro. I don't know why I'm so tired.
Yo, his level of sleeping is it's upper echelon, man. He's got a PhD in sleeping.
Who has a bigger PhD, him or a cat?
Oh, I think him. Oh yeah, dude, because he's 77 pounds of snoring and just noise coming out of him.
Dude. Let's see how fast ChatGPT makes this right here. I'm just like, I'm at the point now where I'm like,
It is a great training tool, my friend. A great training tool.
and then right here.
Here it comes.
Then we have that. Honestly, I was talking to my buddy who's in Python,
Yeah.
and he works for SpaceX, and he was telling me about how like whenever you're writing code, all you're doing is you're just a translator when you write code.
It is so funny that you bring that up because the guy that I game with all the time also works for SpaceX.
What'd he say?
Nothing. I'm just saying, like, it's really weird. I just learned that again this week after I was goofing on him. And he was like, I work for SpaceX, right? And I was like, that's right. That's right. So to hear you say you got a buddy that works for SpaceX and he's doing Python is yep.
And it's crazy because what he was saying about like the code is the easy part, because what should happen is the requirement should be so clear from the project manager or the business, should be so set in stone and clear for exactly what's needed, that the code is literally just there to translate it into this pseudo code that Python is basically turning English into telling the computer what to do.
Right.
So it's like, when you think about that, honestly, you know what he said? Oh my gosh, this is what he said. Dude, this is why I love, like, this is why I'm like, I love ChatGPT so much, because he goes, and I didn't even say this. I wasn't even talking about it. He said, there's going to be a job within the next 5 years. You know what that job's going to be called on ChatGPT?
What's that?
Oh, you already know. We've already talked about it.
All right. What did we title it? You brought it up.
Starts with a P, ends with an E. It's 2 words.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
You're going to remember as soon as I say it.
Of course I will.
Prompt engineer.
Yep.
And he was like, I didn't even say this. I haven't talked to this dude in a while. He goes, the job of the future is going to be a prompt engineer. And companies are going to be paying prompt engineers to be able to get the desired output through prompting ChatGPT to write the code. He's like, if you want to build a website, he's like, just tell it what you want it to build and have it write the code for you.
Right.
He's like, give it exactly. He's like, first thing you need to do is plan out exactly what you're looking for, and it'll build it for you.
Yep.
And so that just leads me here. It's like pattern recognition. I'm just like kind of seeing like, okay, the main thing we need to learn how to do is we need to learn how to troubleshoot. That's going to be our only job of the future.
It really is. When
is
things
troubleshooting.
break. Hey, welcome to the beginning of IT. It is now the end of IT as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then right here, copy. Let's see if it writes that.
I mean, because you know what they've done with some of this AI, right? They created a 24-hour-a-day Seinfeld episode that just constantly runs in like 8-bit form with dialogue collected from the entire series, and it's running its own show.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it runs its own show 24 hours a day live. It's from what I saw, you know what I mean?
I've heard about that.
It's
man.
absolutely wild. Because all somebody did was tell it what to do, and that's what it did.
Okay, now this is where we're getting into the and dude, like think about that. It's running a whole script of Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm. collected from however many seasons, however many years. And somebody just, I don't know if they dropped all of that scripting in there or the language or maybe even like the behind the scenes stuff. And it just developed its own thing and just runs.
Look, I said that didn't work. Can you rewrite it?
Oh my gosh, that's
Let's
hilarious.
see if it works. Wait, oh wait, no. Wait. Let's see. Do I need to delete this out? It just pulls up the V count.
What aren't we telling it to do, right?
I said that still didn't render correctly. Here's an updated version of the code. This should produce a properly formatted 10 by 10 grid of numbers with a border around each cell. Copy code. Paste.
I'm logging into my ChatGPT account right now. Oh, goodness.
Dude, what is up with this? Okay, what does Cameron Robert have?
Okay, what's he saying here? Where were we at?
Number 3. Table border 1. And he's saying in this code block for x equals 0. Okay, he's doing 0 to 9. He's not, I remember he said something about 1 to 9 or 1 to 10, 0 to 9.
Yeah, so for at the variable x, 0 to 9, do this. For at the variable I, 1 to 10, do this. And then add, multiply, and we're basically building our table here. 10 at I, next at I, next at x. Okay, so if we go back up and look at our table.
Which part?
The multiplication table, right? So we're going to go up and just take a peek at it. It's right above these tasks, right? The finished product. So we can just see a visual of it.
Oh,
right. Okay, so right here, so 3. This is what we're doing. So a 10 by 10 grid counting up to 100. You'll need to use a second for loop to achieve this.
let's see if I just copy and paste what he put in. If it gets the result. Okay.
Yep. So he's created 2 different rows. 0 to 9 and 1 to 10.
So the table border, that's just HTML.
Yeah, that's just HTML.
That's closing the table.
Yep, that's closing the table.
This is one code block. This is table row. This is another code block. This is table dimension. What is TD? TD element HTML. The table data cell element. No. Table data defines a cell of a table that contains data. It participates in the data in the table model. Table data. Let's see, what does W3 School say? A simple HTML tag or table with 2 rows and 4 table cells. Defines a cell in a table. Cell A, B, C, D. Table TD. Oh, gotcha. Okay, TD, whatever you put in the middle of TD becomes what's inside of the cell.
Okay.
So he's saying inside of this TD,
Cell.
the TD we see,
Run this equation.
he's saying multiply X, which is 0 to 9, multiply the X, which is 0 times 10, which is 0. 1 times 10 is 1. 10 times 10 is 100, and everything in between from 0 to 100. Multiply that, and then add that number to I, which is 1 to 10. So add, let's say 0 times 10 plus 1 is 11. 1 times 10 is 10, or 0 times 10 is 0, plus 1 is 1. X times 10, if let's say it's 1 times 10, that's 10 plus 1 is 11. So 2 times 10 is 20, 22. And then it's saying, this is where the logic, this is where we just need to figure out, okay, like what's the logic saying here?
Right. Right. And
like,
that is that's a nice little equation there to spit out that table to really break down. Add, multiply at X, which is 0 to 9, and then 10. And then at I. So that's a healthy little statement right there. Actually dump that into ChatGPT and see if it can explain that to us.
okay.
Let's see what its explanation is.
Can you explain this AMPscript code block? Here's how it works step by step.
Okay. Okay, so the first loop creates the 10 rows in the table.
The for loop is initiated by the variable X, which counts 0 to 9. This loop creates 10 rows in the table. 10 rows, so rows is up, down. Inside the first loop,
Another
loop,
another for loop is initiated using the variable at I, which now counts from 1 to 10. This loop creates 10 cells in each row. Okay, so we're building our grid. We've just built our grid right there.
Yep.
So the only thing in here that's actually doing anything is this statement that we're about to read right next.
The content of each cell is determined by this AMPscript function.
Mm-hmm.
It multiplies the current value of X, which we know X is for the rows.
Yes.
It multiplies the current value of the row by 10.
Uh-huh.
Then it adds the current value of I.
There's
which
the
is
add.
Columns.
Yep. This produces a unique number for each cell counting from 1 to 100.
The function is used to output the value of the calculated. The function is used to output the value of the calculated number in the cell. The inner for loop is closed with next at I, and the table row is closed with the table row HTML
tag.
The outer for loop is closed with the next at X statement, and the table is closed with the table HTML tag. When the AMPscript code is executed, it generates an HTML table of 10 rows and 10 cells displaying the numbers of 1 to 100. Now, if you look up to what we did up here, how is that different? We added a variable at result at I and at J. We set the result to be equal to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or a string that has an empty string for at I. We set 1 to 10, do set result to concatenate result, which is nothing, with the table row. For J, we set result to concatenate the result, which is the table row with the border, 1 pixel solid black, padding 5 pixels, I minus 1 times at 10 at plus J.
So that equation looks much different than what we what's in here.
And then the next J, and then we set the result to concatenate result, and then line table row next at I. And then we have this treat as content. What is treat as content? AMPscript. Treat as content. AMPscript. Treats the string as though it came in from a content area to retrieve tracking information associated with these strings. I don't know, man. That's 45 minutes.
That's
but
45 minutes.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep this open, and later on today, I'm just going to come back and study this.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I'm going to come on to do another live, but I am going to study this. So I'm probably just going to put this into the YouTube description and have anyone who wants to study and read it, you can go study and read it also. So everything that I've been seeing, like as far as opening up on the tab and everything we've been doing here with Therian and I'm going to put this in the YouTube description and you can go in and read this. But yeah, like I see this is a very good set of exercises
for sure
for loop.
For
sure. I feel like if you can attack and conquer most any for loop and any if statement, I feel like you have accomplished a lot of what you're going to be able to do inside of AMPscript.
Right. I completely agree.
Yeah, I think those are the two granddaddies to rule them all.
I agree. Well, hey, get out of here, man. Let's wrap it up. Hit those notifications, hit those likes, repost where you can, catch us up wherever you can. I know I still see people catching up today from a couple videos ago. And if anybody wants information before video 12, we'll share the MinuteAdmin blog with you because that's where we started.
Yep, exactly.
All righty, man.
All right, man. Great work.
MinuteAdmin out.
MinuteAdmin out.
See you later. Bye.
You too.